Hey again everyone, so I'm back with another huge book haul slash in my mailbox. I have 22 books to show you guys. Once again, didn't mean to get this many books, but it just kind of spiraled out of control. So I'm going to try and get through this as quickly as possible. I don't want to skim all the books, but at the same time I don't want to spend ages on all the books because obviously then this will be an extremely long video. Okay, I'll start off with the books that I got sent for review. First is from Chocolate Publishing. They sent me their August release, and that is Vampire State of Mind by Jane Lovering. And this reminds me of an adult romance sort of version of Paranormalcy by Kirsten White. That is very much what it sounds like. Jessica Grant is a council tracker. She makes sure all these other worlders are where they're supposed to be, but then she falls in love with a vampire. Sounds like a really quick, light, fun read, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. And then this was from Hotkey Books. They sent me Angel Dust by Sarah Mussey. Anyway, I've just started this. I haven't even finished the first chapter, but this is about an angel is sent from heaven to make a gangster repent, but he kind of refuses to repent, but she still falls in love with him anyway. It's a YA sort of contemporary meets a paranormal twist. It sounds really good. I'm really looking forward to getting into it a little bit more. The finished cover for this, because this is an arc, the finished cover for this is gorgeous. I really recommend looking it up because the cover is just really nice. From Scholastic, they very kindly sent me Rebel Heart by Moira Young. This is the sequel to Blood Red Road. I prefer these new covers. They have been morphed, but this cover doesn't match my original cover, which I'm a little bit annoyed about, but the covers are much better than what they used to be here in the UK. That's the new cover for Blood Red Road. It's much nicer than the cover I have, but I can't be bothered to rebuy it because I didn't hate Blood Red Road, but I didn't love it as much as I know a lot of other people did. But I did want to see where the story went, so I'm glad that I have Rebel Heart. That comes out on the 2nd of August. And then I also got sent from Atom Books. I got sent The Land of Stories by Chris Colfer. I was very excited to get this book. As you're probably all aware, this is like a children's / middle grade novel written by one of the members of Glee. I don't watch Glee, so I can't say that I'm excited for that reason. And it sounded really good. As you guys probably know, I don't really read middle grade or children's books, but this one sounded really good, so I was pleased to get the chance to be sent it. And it's about a brother and sister that get stuck in a fairy tale book, but all the fairy tales are sort of messed up and they have an evil queen chasing them and they have to try and get home. But the cover is gorgeous. I love that here on the side you have Snow White, and you can see like her dress goes into the poison apples, and then on the opposite side you have Sleeping Beauty and the spinning wheel, the wolf, the frog, Cinderella's glass slipper, you have the gingerbread house, Rapunzel's tower, the beanstalk. So much detail on this cover, and it just made me want to read it so bad. And it's quite big for a middle grade novel. I was really surprised, and I have this beautiful finished hardback edition, so I can't wait to check this out. I also won a Bloomsbury competition on Facebook, and you'll probably remember I got sent book 6 in this series in like my last haul, but I won a copy of City of Masks by Mary Hoffman. This is book 1 in the Extravaganza sequence, and this is it's like a YA series about teenagers with the gift to sort of go back in time, travel in time, and they sort of end up in like a Renaissance Italy, I think is the sort of time period. Sounds really good, and I was really upset that I couldn't start reading the 6th book because obviously I hadn't had any of the others, so now I have book 1. And they also sent me book 3, so I now have 1, 3 and 6, so I still got 3 to go, but oh well. And this is City of Flowers. They look really good, so I'm really looking forward to checking that series out in more detail. Then I kind of took a trip into town and checked out the discount bookstores. Yeah, It was a mistake, really. I shouldn't have done that. It's getting the books home that's the problem. I end up with all these bags of books and they're heavy. And I don't drive, so that is a problem. I went into the works and I took advantage of their 3 books for £5 offer. And I picked up Bed of Roses by Nora Roberts. This is the 2nd book in her Bride Quartet, and this was the only book I was missing. I read the 1st book last month and it restored my faith in her books. I actually really enjoyed it. Probably one of my favourites of hers, actually. I thought it was much better than some of her other books that I had been reading, so I'm glad I picked this one up. I then also picked up Gale Force by Rachel Caine. This, I believe, is book 7 in her Weather Warden series. I'm a big fan of her Morganville Vampire series. I currently have 1, 2 and 9 in this series. I pick these up when I see them because I'm not that bothered about starting them yet, because I'm like smack bang in the middle of her Morganville Vampire series. I've only read like 6 books, so I didn't want to start another like long series of hers. I would rather get more into the Morganvilles and wait till that's kind of at an end before starting another of her series. But it sounds really good. It's about people that have the ability to sort of control the weather. It sounds really, really good, and if it's half as good as her Morganville Vampire series, I'm gonna love it. So I picked that up. The 3rd book in the 3 for 5, I picked up Rude Awakenings of a Jane Austen Addict. I hadn't heard anything about this book. I just saw it and thought it sounded really good. It's about a Regency girl who loves Jane Austen's books, and somehow she ends up in a modern day Los Angeles. Yeah, and sort of chaos ensues, and she has to try and decide whether she wants to stay in our time or go back to the Regency period. So it sounds really light and funny, and I have no idea when I'm going to get to it, but it sounds really, really good. I then bought another 3 books in their 3 for 5 offer. I mean, why not? You know, I was there. Why not take advantage of it? So I picked up What Price Love by Stephanie Lawrence. She's a historical Regency romance writer, and I decided to pick this one up because when I was in there before, I picked up Scandal's Bride by her, and I read it, and it was probably one of my favourites of her books. But why I picked this one up was because the male protagonist is called Dylan, and he played sort of a pivotal role in one of the other books called The Rogue's Proposal, and that is actually my favourite Stephanie Lawrence book. So when I saw that he was in this one and it was in their 3 for 5 offer, I thought, well, I'll just pick that up. So I have that. I then picked up Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. It's a beast. It's like 1006 pages. Holy Mother of God. It's so big. I had no idea this book would be so big. The reason I bought this was because I had seen it pop up quite recently, and I added it to my wishlist because people have been saying, oh, if you like The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, you should give this a try. And as I haven't actually read The Night Circus yet, I thought, well, I'll add it to my wishlist, and when I do read The Night Circus, if I really like it, which I'm convinced I'm going to love it, but I just haven't got around to it yet, then I'll know that I can go buy this. But it was there $1.99 or in their 3 for 5, so I thought when I come back again it's not going to be here, so I just grabbed it. And then the last book I got from the works was another book by Susanna Clarke, and this is The Ladies of Grace Adieu and Other Stories. It's an anthology. It's not as big as Jonathan Strange, thank God. But I was going to start reading this to get a feel for her writing, obviously, because it is so much shorter than Jonathan Strange. But one of the stories has 2 characters from Jonathan Strange, so I thought, well, I won't know those characters, so I have to wait to read this. But I picked it up. There's also another discount bookstore in town called the Discount Bookstore, and I picked up 2 books from there. I picked up The Chosen One by Carol Lynch Williams. This came on my radar a couple of years ago, and I thought it sounded really, really good, but I kept putting it back when I realised that the protagonist is only 13 years old, and I don't tend to read books about sort of that age. I prefer them to be more around my own age or adults. I don't seem to just enjoy books about characters that age. Hence, that's why I don't normally read middle grade or children's books. But it sounds really, really good. It's like it's about a girl whose family is part of a like sort of a religious cult, and she's gonna be forced to marry her uncle, and he's already got like 6 wives already, and of course she wants to escape. It's a relatively short book, and she has a new book out called Waiting, I think, and I really like the sound of that book, so I thought I'd pick this up. Well, nearly dropped it. And then the last book I got from the discount bookstore was Emerald by Karen Wallace. And of course, what drew me to this was the beautiful green dress, and then the green goes around to the back. And this is obviously a YA historical novel. Emerald is in trouble. She's going to be forced to marry someone she doesn't want to, and apparently the court is trying to have her pet bear killed. But of course, then she falls in love with someone else. Sounds really good. I have no plans to read it anytime soon, but it does sound really good, and I had to have it. Oh, still got so many to go. My friend bought me a book. I helped her out with something, and then as a surprise she bought me a book to say thank you, which of course I told her she didn't have to do. I would have done it anyway. She bought me Looking for Alaska by John Green. I did a total happy dance when I found out that she sent me this. She knows how obsessed I am with John Green, and that slowly but surely I'm accumulating all his books. So now I have Looking for Alaska. Very, very excited. I'm not keen on the UK cover. I'm not going to lie. I wish they'd redesigned the UK cover instead of the Abundance of Catherine's cover, but you know, oh well. My mum also bought me a book when she went shopping. She saw this and thought I'd like it, and that is The Glimpse by Claire Merle. I think that's how you say her name. And this is a YA dystopian, and it doesn't look like a YA dystopian. It reminds me of sort of like a chick lit cover. But it sounds good, but I'm worried that it's not different enough in the YA market at the moment. As you guys all know, like the amount of dystopia has like exploded in the last year, and this just doesn't sound different enough. It doesn't grab you. It's set in the not so distant future, and society has been divided into the pures and the crazies as a result of a DNA test. And this book kind of reminds me of a Divergent meets Matched, because the protagonist Anna falls for a pure boy, and then he disappears, and she has to find him. It just doesn't sound different. No, I'm not sure on this, to be honest, but I was grateful for my mum for buying it anyway. But I'm just not sure it's different enough. I will check it out, but yep. And then in the supermarket, I picked up A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. This has been on my radar for a very long time. Every time I've gone into discount bookstores, I've specifically looked out for this book. But now they've re-released it with this cover on because the sequel's come out. It sounds really good. This is an adult sort of paranormal mystery type book. It's got witches, demons, vampires, ancient texts, the Bodleian Library. Sounds really, really good. Oh, and Forbidden Love, of course. Of course, how could I miss that out? This is also quite a big book, but I'm really excited to check it out. I have read every single possible review on this book, from the oh my god, it was amazing, I loved it, favourite book, to the this was a terrible, boring, drawn out book. So I've read everything in between on this book, but I think it sounds really good, and I can't wait to read it. I really, really want the sequel as well, but it's come out in a huge hardback. And I was very jealous because Daniel Osborne had the sequel signed in the beautiful US cover, and it wasn't that expensive either, like compared to it being unsigned. So I was just like, damn it, I want it signed, but I can't seem to find a signed copy here in the UK. It sucks big time. See, we always get the rough end of the deal here in the UK, always. I then also picked up The Best of Me by Nicholas Sparks. This was an impulse buy. I sort of gave up reading Nicholas Sparks after a couple of his books I really didn't like. Some of his books I really, really enjoyed. Like my favourites are A Walk to Remember, The Lucky One, and The Rescue. The Rescue is my favourite of all of his books, and then I read a couple and I just thought, I don't like these. I don't like how they end. Some felt like I was reading the same thing twice. But this one, the back just really drew me in, about two sort of childhood friends from what was it, opposite sides of the tracks, that's how they put it. And then their sort of mentor dies and they're brought back together again, and that sounded much better than some of the other books that I've been reading, so I decided I would give it a try again. I then bought Dreams by Josephine Angelini, the sequel to Star-Crossed. I read Star-Crossed last year, really enjoyed it, so I've been meaning to pick up the sequel for a while. I hate this cover, I hate how they look just look so unnatural. I mean, I know they're supernatural sort of goddess, demigod beings type things, but no, they look horrible. I then also picked up Between the Lines by J.D. Picoult and Samantha Van Leer. I've never read a J.D. Picoult book. She doesn't write the sort of books that I would like to read. I know she has a huge fan base and that's great, but her books aren't normally my kind of thing. But this is her first YA novel and it's co-written with her daughter, and it sounds really good. It's obviously aimed at book lovers. This UK hardback is beautiful. It's really stunning, and I picked it up because it just sounds amazing, and it's about a girl called Delilah who loves this one book so much she rereads it all the time, and she's in love with the fictional character, and then suddenly one day he speaks to her and they get drawn into this world, and it sounds so amazing. I'm pretty sure all readers have felt like that at some point in their lives, that they wanted to be in that book or wanted to be with someone in that book, and just have reread a book over and over. So it sounds stunning. It's written in different coloured ink. Some parts are in black, some are in purple, some are in green. It has these pictures in with the writing, and then it also has like full page illustrations as well. So it's really stunning. Can't wait to read this. So excited. I also bought The Vicious Deep by Zoraida Cordova. This is another merman type book, and it's in the boy's point of view, so I had been interested in picking it up for a while, but every time I've gone to order it they hadn't had it, so this is the first time I've been able to actually buy it. Sounds really good. The cover is really pretty. I love the detailing on the trident and back, and the under the dust jacket is really nice as well. You've got this blue hardcover, and it's sort of like engraved with wavy lines. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but it's really cool. I don't know when I'll get to it, but I'm really pleased that I finally have it. And then the last book that I've got is a contemporary, and it's My Life Next Door by Huntley Fitzpatrick. This has been getting a lot of fuss in the blogging community, in the Goodreads community, and I fell in love with this really cute cover. I love the font, so I thought I wanted to buy another contemporary, so I thought I'll get this one. And when it came, I was so glad that I bought it, because not only is the cover beautiful, but it has this striped spine there with My Life Next Door written on it. Oh, there we go. And then it has this bright yellow hardcover, and it just reminds me of Anna and the French Kiss with those beautiful coloured hardcovers. And when I got here, I found out that it was blurbed by Simone Alcalez, who I loved her Perfect Chemistry series, so I was really glad that I picked that up. Okay, that was everything. I'm so sorry guys that it was so long. If you stuck with it to the end, thank you so much. I really hope that it doesn't get to this stage again where I have to make an 18-19 minute long video. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys soon. Happy reading.